I'm Sarah from This Mama Life, and today for Netmums I'm sharing my top tips on how to cope with morning sickness. More than 50% of women experience morning sickness and it is rubbish. It tends to start around the 6th week of pregnancy and can occur any time of the day, and they say it usually starts going by 12 weeks, but in my experience it's gone on a lot longer. While you're going through it, it can feel absolutely horrendous. I was wiped, I was drained, I was exhausted, I really struggled going to work. But here are our top tips on how to cope. Tip number 1 is to eat small meals and eat often. I know the last thing you probably want to do is eat, but it will help. An empty stomach does add to that nauseous feeling, and that's why you feel even worse when you first get up in the morning. I did find that eating little snacks and little meals throughout the day really did help to settle my stomach as much as I could, and it made sure I was still getting some of the nutrition I needed whilst pregnant. Tip number 2 is to drink water either half an hour before or half an hour after you've eaten, and not whilst you're eating, because drinking a lot of water while you're eating can make it harder for food to stay down, and you want to make sure you're keeping food down as much as you can. Also, on the whole water front, sipping water and drinks throughout the day is a really great way as well to keep yourself hydrated, but again, not overloading your stomach to suddenly go and want to be sick. Tip number 3 is quite an obvious one. It's basically to avoid smells and foods and things like that that make you feel nauseous. It's an obvious one, but you might not actually realise what your triggers are, because when you're pregnant, smells you usually find nauseating might not actually make you feel sick, and other smells you usually deal with completely fine might make you feel awful. I had a certain perfume that I absolutely loved, but when I was pregnant with Lachlan, I just couldn't go near it. It made me feel so ill. And on the same thread, a lot of foods I loved made me feel really sick as well. So just definitely go with what your body's saying. And once you've noticed once that something makes you feel sick, try and avoid it. Tip number 4 is to keep yourself distracted. I found if I was out and about, and obviously I went to work every day, that helped me stay distracted. Don't get me wrong, I did have a few mad dashes to the toilet, but I found the more my brain was kind of focusing on something else, the less it felt the need to be sick straight away. I'd maybe have this background nauseous feeling, but it wouldn't be an immediate feeling of needing to be sick. Tip number 5 is to, when you wake up in the morning, don't just spring out of bed, because that motion will not be very welcome if you're suffering with morning sickness. I genuinely had to sort of roll onto my side, get up, put my legs around, put my legs down, and then slowly get up. And actually, when I was pregnant with Isla, my husband used to bring me a bit of dry toast to have at the side of my bed before I even got up, just to try and stop myself being sick. So a piece of dry toast or a biscuit or something like that might help before you get up. Tip number 6 is to get plenty of rest. That is much easier said than done, especially if you work or if you have another child or anything like that. But still, those little moments where you can sit down, put your feet up, have a little rest. And if it's your first baby, or if someone can take one of your other kids away for a couple hours, then have a nap. Being tired makes nauseousness even worse. I know that firsthand from experience. It's horrible. Tip number 7 is one that really resonated with me as well. It's to avoid warm places. I have the same thing with my headaches. If I'm too warm or in too stuffy an environment, I feel a lot worse, and it'll bring on headaches and things. So it's the same with feeling sick. I found being really cold helped to sort of stop that feeling a little bit sometimes. Tip number 8 is another one I utilised. It's to ask someone else to cook if it makes you feel really bad. With Lachlan, I went completely off meat. I didn't mind eating it if it didn't look like meat. I know that sounds really bizarre, but I couldn't cook it. I couldn't see it raw, so I had to either get my husband or a friend just to make those sorts of meals for me, because I just couldn't deal with it. Tip number 9 is to talk to someone who understands. It can feel really lonely and isolating when you feel like you have a constant hangover with your morning sickness for the first few months. But speaking to someone else, either a friend or a relative or online, to any one of us that chat and are on social media, then I'm just talking about things sometimes just make them seem a little bit better. So my final tip, tip number 10, is if things do not get better, then definitely go visit your GP and they will be able to advise you and help. So that was a quick roundup of my top tips for dealing with morning sickness. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you very soon. Bye!